I'm really not involved with the Justice Department. I'd like to let it run itself. But honestly, they should be looking at the Democrats. They should be looking at Podesta and all of that dishonesty. They should be looking at a lot of things. And a lot of people are disappointed in the Justice Department, including me.
All right, that was the president earlier today saying he is disappointed in the Justice Department over its failure to investigate a lot of corruption with Hillary. The Democrats joining us now with reaction. Counsel to the president, Kellyanne Conway. I don't even know where to begin. I just think especially on the Russian dossier. Now that we know she was in control of the DNC, we had learned, okay, the $12 million, whatever the figure is, 10, 11, it just keeps varying. But we do know this. All of the money was bought and paid for now by Hillary because she was in control of the DNC. The DNC funneled money through a particular law firm, the same law firm that Hillary and Bill used. They fund the whole dossier. It's all full of Russian lies, propaganda, misinformation. Everybody on the left said they cared about Trump-Russia collusion. Look at where we are. You know, we have the evidence here.
Yes, and I really laugh out loud, Sean, whenever somebody says, oh, you Trump people, you just won't let Hillary Clinton go. You still want to talk about last year's election. No, we don't. We're the ones governing. We're the ones reducing almost 900 regulations. This is the president that's passed 71 bills, including 14 congressional review acts. He's putting forward a very bold and robust tax cut plan for the middle class and the job creators in this country. This man is governing, and people are trying to get in his way when they should be. If they want to look backward at all at last year's election, they ought to add what the Clinton campaign, the DNC were doing to the pot. By the way, you just mentioned that law firm and the dossier, the $9 or $10 million that nobody can admit who paid for it and what they were paying for. It was a bunch of unverified junk anyway, and now we know, and we ought to continue to dig. Right. That same lawyer was mentioned in the Brazil information as somebody who was negotiating with the DNC to make sure that they were controlling the money, controlling the down ballot races, starving those races really to keep it all for the queen bee, and it didn't work anyway. But some of those same players are being mentioned there. And again, anybody who wants to thread all this together ought to be doing that. You
know, I have watched since the campaign, and I watch you do a lot of interviews. And so now you have Hillary stealing an election, paying for Russian lies to influence the American people and steal the general elections. We know she stole the primary election and rigged it against Bernie Sanders. Then you've got all the email server issues, and then you got Uranium One, which I think is the worst because we import uranium. We don't have enough uranium. And yet, in spite of knowing all the crimes that Putin's agents were committing in America in 2009, well, Hillary, Eric Holder, 7 other people still signed off on it. And then you follow the money trail. They benefited hugely financially on the back end with $145 million kicked back to the Clinton Foundation, Bill doubling his speaking fees and meeting with Vladimir Putin because, you know, and security.
Well, this is why it's relevant. It's not just relevant how much money people got paid for a speech. I mean, she talked for free for the last 30 years, and very few people were listening. To think she made millions of dollars in those speeches is pretty remarkable. But it's relevant because of what you just said. It's worth a look. Because the uranium rights, it's worth a look because she was at the State Department when, as the Hill reported a couple weeks ago, Sean, and you've been covering nightly, people were trying to get Russian interests were trying to get influence within the Obama administration, and she was there at Foggy Bottom at the State Department. Her husband got the speaking fees. If Melania Trump had given a speech for $500,000 in Russia, it'd be plastered everywhere. So you know it's relevant. You know there's just a triple standard going on here. And I saw by one account, there were 50 times the coverage of the Trump campaign in Russia than there was of the Clinton campaign in Russia. And people still give the nauseating excuse, Sean, it's because he won and she lost. That is not what's relevant here. The other thing I would just point out for you.
Hillary.
Yes.
She stole a primary.
Yeah, but she lost anyway. Our grandmothers were right. Cheaters never prosper.
Well, she stole it from Bernie.
She stole it from Bernie.
If I was a communist socialist like him.
But that will have
Apparently
consequences moving forward. You know why, Sean? Because now the Democratic Party is fighting the two factions. The far left, which is the base of the party, versus the socialist, which is which are many of the Bernie Sanders supporters. I saw an anchor today who's a Democrat, but I repeat myself, say, but Bernie Sanders, he's not even really a Democrat. He wasn't running as a Democrat. He was running in the Democratic primary. And by the way, that guy won 22 million votes in 13 states, even though she had tried to rig it against him. He prevailed
I would argue
anyway.
without the rigging and including the superdelegates, I would argue that probably Bernie Sanders won.
President Trump has made remarks like that in the past, and he was right as usual. He's way ahead of everyone else. He had tweeted way before all this was revealed that Bernie was getting the short end of it. It was being rigged. Thanks, Sean.
Kellyanne, always appreciate you being with us. When we come back, our investigation continue. Hillary Clinton's friends in the media, they continue to expose themselves, giving next to zero coverage that she stole a primary. We will explain why that's a serious issue. So much more on this busy Friday breaking news night tonight on Hannity.